Good evening. Good evening, good evening, good evening. So I'm coming on here tonight. I'm doing a live because I'm deeply concerned about where the United States is currently headed. And so what do I mean by that? Lately, and ladies and gentlemen, this is not just lately, but this has been happening for a very long time. So what's happening in the United States is we have seen an escalation of vigilante violence that has put everybody on fear. We have seen Black Americans being choked out on subways. We have seen the dominant society take law into their own hands. We have seen an escalation of intimidation of Black activists. So, for example, we have seen the Socialist Party, the Uhuru 3, go through a trial just for protecting civil rights. The United States, ladies and gentlemen, is headed down a really dangerous path. And I'm deeply concerned because currently the United States is intimidating not only myself, because I am a human rights defender, but also my brother. Now, my brother doesn't have anything to do with my activism. My brother has not, he's not a threat to national security. And yet intelligence agencies have, now let's put this into perspective. The United States is intimidating a Black man who is trying to make a living for himself and trying to do something positive by just working and living a life for himself, living the best life he can live as a Black man in America. And yet, authority figures in the United States are using their intelligence capacities to intimidate him, to bully him. When what we have, ladies and gentlemen, that's happening within the United States is everyday violence and everyday crime that's plagued the streets of the United States. But yet, the United States is not worried about that. The United States is worried about trying to silence dissent. And I am really concerned that the United States has taken this path, because I uploaded a video the other day stating that I feel that the United States could possibly that it could possibly lead the world to a better place, that the United States could possibly advocate for peace, be the champion for peace. But it's not going to be a champion for peace if it's intimidating Black Americans that are just trying to make a living. Now, let's get into that. Ladies and gentlemen, what we have seen happening across the United States is an era of persecution and intimidation of the Black body. And so what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is that the United States is on a war path. And this is not an incitement to hate. This is not an incitement to violence. This is just really examining this for what it is. Intelligence agencies in two countries, in the Republic of Ireland and in the United States, these two countries have a bone to pick with Black Americans. For some reason, there is just a dislike and disdain. It is anti-Black racism within the Republic of Ireland and within the United States. These two countries, for some reason, hate Black Americans. Like, they just don't like us. And ladies and gentlemen, I've been reading books on lynchings in the United States. And in these books that I've been reading about these lynchings in the United States, it is showing, ladies and gentlemen, that not only was the United States involved in lynching Black Americans, but the Republic of Ireland was involved in it as well. And so this says something about its treatment in the way that it views Blacks. You know, it's really unfortunate. And so I'm deeply concerned that what the United States is doing now is that it's using its surveillance capacities to monitor innocent Americans. And so, ladies and gentlemen, Americans have a right to their private home. They have a right under the Fourth Amendment from unreasonable searches and unreasonable seizures. Americans have a right. And when the United States violates that right by invading their privacy, then it says a lot about the nation. Now, I am going to kind of break all this down for you. Transnational repression is where countries reach across their borders to silence the dissent of their citizens. And they do it in a number of ways. Some of the most extreme countries do it by extraordinary renditions, incommunicado detention. They also do it through some of the most extreme forms, such as unalivement. But there are the soft tactics that countries use to intimidate their citizens, such as the United States of America and the Republic of Ireland, who is using its intelligence capacities to intimidate Black citizens. We've seen it with the Uhuru 3, and now we are seeing it just, states are using it to actually go after marginalized groups that it dislikes. So, for example, in the Republic of Ireland, the Republic of Ireland is going after Black Americans. They're not going after any other Black groups. They're going after Black Americans and Jewish people in the Republic of Ireland. And we know this to be true is because the Republic of Ireland has recently expelled its its ambassador. So there's no more ambassador to Ireland from Israel and the Republic of Ireland. And ladies and gentlemen, when I used to live in the Republic of Ireland, I didn't know that there was so much hate for Blacks there. And I didn't know that there was such, like, you go to a place and you think that you can make community, you think that you can grow with people, you think that you can love people, you think that you can try and befriend people and just really become one with people, and then you realize that there is just a level of disdain that people have in their hearts that they can't relinquish. And so I'm saying that to say this, that in the United States, because I'm talking about these two countries, because these are two countries that are involved in this this campaign of intimidating Black Americans. And so with the United States has a long history of abusing Blacks and persecuting Blacks. Now, let's look at the Daniel Penny. Let's revisit that. That's something that I talked about on my YouTube channel. And so I talked about the Daniel Penny verdict. And so with that verdict, if you go to my YouTube channel, you can kind of see how I talk about that. So what has happened with that verdict is that there was a Black American man, and he was on the subway. And while he was on the subway, he was just frustrated. He didn't have anything to eat. He didn't have anything to drink. And so you had a Marine that felt that it was his responsibility to put a man who was frustrated due to his living conditions in a chokehold. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very concerned because what we have, what seems to be the problem now is that Black Americans in the United States are not being respected. They're not being respected and they're not being protected. Those are two things. Now, this is deeply concerning to me because the United States is supposed to be a country that is leading by example. It's supposed to be a country that is respecting human rights. It's supposed to be a country that is respecting its citizens. And yet what it's doing, ladies and gentlemen, is it's engaging in a campaign to intimidate citizens. And when you do that, what you do is you drive your citizens out of the country. Citizens don't want to live there. And so the best way that I can explain this relationship, the best way that I can explain this persecution that involves the United States is like this. Think of a relationship that you have with a very toxic person, a person that is abusive, a person that is manipulative, a person that is a narcissist. And think of that relationship as a relationship that you really want to get far away from. And so let's say, for instance, you are in a relationship that is abusive. You are in a relationship that's very toxic. You're in a relationship that is not only abusive and toxic, but you're in a relationship that is not good for your overall growth. And so what you do is you decide, you know what? I deserve better. I want better for my life. I want better in this world. And what I want is I want to leave this relationship. And so you decide, you know what, I'm going to leave this relationship because there's somebody better out there for me. And you leave that relationship. And yet you have this toxic person that is trying to attach themselves to you and to try and keep you in a relationship. Now, this toxic person does not want to be in a relationship with you. They just don't want anyone else to have you. And ladies and gentlemen, this toxic person is the United States of America. This toxic person is a person that you can be in a relationship with that is draining your every fiber of your being, oppressing you, harassing you, intimidating you, and when you decide that you want to leave this relationship, what this country will do is it will try and keep you encapsulated in its thorns, its thorny arms. And so that's the best way that I can explain what is happening. So if you have been listening, my brother is Xavier, and he uploaded a video to TikTok. Now, I'm not sure exactly how old that video is. It's showing as one of the most recent videos, but I don't have TikTok, so I can't log into and see the publication date of that video. And the TikTok accounts that I do have, I don't have access to it, so I can't log into it. But what was deeply concerning to me is that my brother stated that he was in the, he told me that he was actually within the ambulance. And while he was in the ambulance, he was talking to the ambulance people. And so he was there and he was having a medical condition. He was talking to the ambulance people. And while he was talking to them, they were mistreating him, treating him very horribly. And so while they were treating him horribly, what he tried to do was he tried to record his encounter because he tried to keep evidence, as we all do. Now we're in the United States, we understand that when there's persecution going on in the United States, sometimes we need to record our encounters, because if we don't record the encounter, then what will happen? What will happen is that we are blamed for something that we didn't do. And so this is what Monty tried to do, is he tried to record this circumstance in the ambulance. And for some reason, his videos were missing from his phone. Now, I believe my brother. I believe my brother that he recorded those videos. And I also believe that someone deleted those videos out of his phone so he wouldn't have evidence to back up his claim. I believe my brother. And I believe that this is someone who has the capabilities to get into his phone and doing so as a form of intimidation. Now, this has been happening for a very long time, and I think that we all could agree that no black person who is not doing anything to harm anybody and is just trying to work and is trying to make an honest living for themselves, they don't deserve to be intimidated. They don't deserve to be bullied. Leave that man alone. Let that man work. Let him earn an honest living for himself and stop intimidating him. Leave him alone. He is a human being. And just because you don't like his history, you don't like his past, he has the right to change. He has the right to start over and make a life for himself. Leave him alone. Stop bullying Xavier. Now, we could all agree that we all in this world, we don't have perfect lives. We don't have a perfect history. But that imperfect history doesn't mean that we all deserve to be bullied. And we especially don't deserve to be bullied by a person with considerable power. Leave him alone. What they're trying to do is they're trying to push him over the edge. They're trying to push his buttons and push him over the edge so that they can unalive him and then make it appear as if it was all his fault. And this is something that they've been doing it to Black Americans for the longest. They did it to Jordan Neely. They did it to Sonia Massey. They've been doing it to Black people for a very long time. It's a dangerous time to live in the United States. It's actually a dangerous time to live in any country where the dominant society is ruling, because we are the people that are subject to that intimidation and that persecution. And so I am just coming on here because after I seen that video, I was very concerned that there is authority figures who are abusing their authority and their power to intimidate a man who is just trying to make an honest living, just trying to live life. And yet, if you don't like his past, then blame society for that past. Society is the one that started the transatlantic slave trade in the 1800s. Society was the one who put Black Americans through Jim Crow. Society is the one who made it difficult for Black Americans to succeed and survive. And you need to remember is that we are from the South. And so our parents was raised in the Jim Crow period. Our parents and their ancestors went through the transatlantic slave trade. And so, that history is still there. And so I am deeply concerned that even years later, what is happening is that there is a continuation of persecution of people who are just trying to live. Xavier has not done anything to any person in a position of power. There is no reason for any person in power to be intimidating him. Don't you guys got something else better to do? I mean, you just had a person who unalived someone in early in the morning, the United Healthcare situation, and you guys couldn't find him for days. You just had a situation where there was a person who, took their anger out on children in a school and committed a mass atrocity. And all of those, both of those situations could have been avoided, and both of those situations could have been they're preventable. And the way that they're preventable is that if they use the time and the energy and the funds that they're using to intimidate Black people who are just trying to survive, just trying to make a living, just trying to get through the day, if they use that energy, that time, and those resources and devote it to people who pose a legitimate threat to national security, then we would see a reduction in the events that we have seen over the last few days. Now, Xavier should be smart enough to know that he is not going to fall for the bait, and he's not going to act aggressively. And it's something that the dominant society does. Trust me, I've been through it as well. What the dominant society does, ladies and gentlemen, is what they do is they try and they all come together. Now, you can see how there is a group of people who are cowards when they come together in abundance. So you have 100 or 20 or 30 or 40 against one person, and you have several people coming together to intimidate one person. And you're bullying that person, and you're bullying that person, and you're bullying that person, and you're bullying that person every single day. Now, can you tell me, does that seem fair? Does that seem right? You have 50 persons, and that could be an exaggeration. I'm just throwing out a number. But collectively, you have a large number of people over a large period of time that is bullying one person. Is that fair? Ask yourself that question. Is that fair? To be bullied by, to have somebody with a position of power that could possibly be instructing people to bully or not to take action if you are being bullied. And we know, ladies and gentlemen, that you could be bullied at any age. It doesn't even have to be, you don't have to be age, like a young person. You can be an older person, like right now I'm 43. You can be this age and go through bullying. And I'm not saying myself, but as an older person, if you're in your 50s, you're in your 70s, you can be bullied. And so is it fair for a group of people to collectively bully one person? That is unfair. And is it fair? Ask yourself this question. Is it fair for a government official to sanction that bullying? Is it fair for a government official to say, yeah, this is okay, go ahead and do this, and we're co-signing it, we're allowing you to do it? No, that's not fair. That is tyranny, in my personal opinion. And so I am very concerned that the United States is unfairly and unjustly going after Black men. That the United States is attacking Black men, and it's not stopping. This is a country that does not like Black people for some reason. This is a country that does not like Black people. United States and the Republic of Ireland, these are, I'm no longer in the Republic of Ireland, but the United States and the Republic of Ireland, these are two countries that they don't like Black people. And so I'm very concerned about why this is happening, and I would urge the United States and any intelligence agency that could be behind this, or any vigilante or any bully that's behind this, whoever it may be, that you have better things to do. And if you have this considerable skill and you have this considerable talent, then use it to catch the real criminals. You had a few criminals recently. You had a person who took down somebody in broad daylight. They couldn't find him for weeks. Excuse me, not weeks, days. And yet you're worried about a man who is trying to live his life in Colorado and trying to provide for himself, and you're only bullying him because you know that you can get away with it. You're only intimidating him because you know that if he goes to try and get help, what you can do then is then you can use your white privilege to make him look small as a black person. Make him look small. You can drudge up his history and use your white privilege to attack him. And I'm very concerned that is what is happening. And I don't feel, respectfully, I think it's a problem when society uses its white privilege to attack and demonize marginalized groups who don't have the resources or the power to defend themselves. And they knew that they could do that to him because they knew that, one, he doesn't have money. Two, he doesn't have a lawyer to help him. So if he complains about intimidation, they know that if he goes somewhere, all they have to do is use the privilege to discredit him and undermine him, and those people are going to believe what this group or whoever's doing this to him says, And so what is the takeaway from this video? I think the takeaway is I really think what needs to be taken away from this is that, listen, there's a lot of people that have intimidated me while I was in the Republic of Ireland. I'll name them. It's a white supremacist. His name is Maurice O'Sullivan. That person is connected to this intimidation. There was a white supremacist. His name is Bradley Hale. There was a couple of other people that I was being intimidated by that was in the Republic of Ireland, which I believe that was connected to the government. And so, ladies and gentlemen, you will go through intimidation. You will have like these people in positions of power. If they're not in positions of power, they will be in they will be connected to power. They will have proximity to power. And so when I say white supremacists, I'm saying, that these people are suspected to be white supremacists because of their actions and their behaviors, the way in which they treated me, they treated me, used racial slurs against me. So for example, when I was in the Republic of Ireland, this white man, his name is Maurice O'Sullivan, who I suspect is a white supremacist, he asked me, like, would I be considered a house N-word? And he used the N-word, and I told him, I was like, dude, don't ever use that word around me ever again. Like, that is very disrespectful. And so you can kind of see how, like, there is a level of racism that people use to attack you, right? But it's like these microaggressions that they use to intimidate you. And like he and I, we had some political conversations. We spoke politically, and he was someone whose company that I enjoyed until he actually said that, because that let me know that he did not have any respect for me. But to this day, I still, don't see him negatively, because I don't see him negatively because I am a human being that is trying to take the high road. And so when I was in the Republic of Ireland, I had these people trying to push me to the edge, to try and get me to react so that they can Sonia Massey me. And, this is what's unfortunate, ladies and gentlemen, that's happening these days is that the people will try and get you to be Sonia Massey'd, or they will try and get you to be Jordan Neely'd. And we know, if you have been following the headlines, you know exactly what has happened to these two people. Now, we cannot ignore, it's not, and again, I'm a person, I denounce hate. I denounce any type of incitement to hate. I denounce any type of violence. But we need to really be reminded that we are living in an era where there is a white supremacist ideology that is stopping Black Americans from being able to live peacefully. And I think that that's just disheartening that we're still going through this today. Now, I'm sure that we will have intelligence agencies or hackers, cutting up this video and sending it to people so that they can get mad at me and intimidate me. That's been going on for a very long time. Everything that I say, they'll cut it up and send a soundbite to someone and have a group intimidate me. Like, I'll give you an example. There was a woman who came up to me and she was pretending to be from the United States, but she wasn't from the United States. You can tell that she was, from a different country, but just with very good English. And so she came up to me and she tried to befriend me. And so basically when, and I'm a nice person. So if I see you and I give you the benefit of the doubt, I'm friends with everybody. I don't say, okay, because you're this color, I'm not going to be friends with you. No, I'm friends with everybody. And so when she came up to me, I tried to be, we were talking, tried to be her friend. And so she began to really, question me about a past relationship that I had, which was really none of her business, and was trying to get into my personal business. And then I hadn't seen her for I think months. And then one day she shows up at my university and she is trying to talk to me. And then I was like, okay, you come to me and you ask me about some things, and then when I ask you to give clarity on those things, you don't tell me. So I don't think I really want to talk to you. And then she makes a big scene, like how these people do, is that they make a big scene, causing a big scene. And so after she did that, she tried to call the security in the library, because this is where this took place. She tried to call the security in the library. And so she was telling the library that, that I was a person who was assaulting her, which I never did do. And ladies and gentlemen, you know what I did? I said, okay, let's go. There's a guy that was sitting in the area where we were at. And plus, don't remember, I recorded it as well. So there was a guy that was sitting in the area where I was at, where we were at. And so I took the staff over there to the area and I was like, hey, dude, did anything happen over here? Did you see anything happen? Did you see someone getting assaulted? Did you see anyone? What did you see? And he was like, no, that didn't happen. And so they put her out of the library when she came back because she was trying to cause a nuisance. So ladies and gentlemen, it's people like that who try and get you to react and try and push your buttons so that you can be seen as the aggressor, so that you can be seen as the heavy, so that they can make you the patsy, and so that you can go down for something that you didn't do. And we have to get smart as Black people. We have to get smart. We have to remember that, it's a troubling time when our word is being discredited by people who have a level of privilege and power. And what we need to do is we need to start protecting ourselves by recording our encounters and, really educating ourselves. And that's what I've been doing. I've been educating myself on Black history. I've been educating myself on just life in general, especially Black history and the law. And I've been doing that, ladies and gentlemen, so that not only can I protect myself, but I can protect my family. So I can protect those who I feel could be, in danger. Because like already right now, we already have somebody that's intimidating my brother, trying to get my brother to react. So they're trying to push my brother over the edge. And, I'm not sure how to get in touch with my brother, because I just don't know. Like, I don't know if he does not want to talk to me. Like, I don't think that that's it. Like, he that does not seem like him. And so, like, I'm just really deeply concerned at what is happening now. Like, United States or an intelligence agency, if you were listening to this, along with anybody who is, leave Black people alone. Black people are just trying to make it through the day. They're trying to live. If you are an intelligence agency, you have a capacity, use your resources to address real issues. You had drones that were flying over New York, and no one knew where that came from. Use your resources to address those issues. There's a lot of crime that is going on in the United States. There's a lot of unsolved cases. Use your resources to solve those cases. Stop messing with Black people who are just trying to make a life, who is just trying to do the right thing, who is just trying just to get through the day. That is the message for tonight. That's the message. Stop intimidating Black people who are just trying to get through the day. And I will reiterate, this live is not about hate. This live is not about intimidation. It's not about an incitement to hate. You know my stance. I'm a human rights defender. I stand against hate. I stand against violence. I stand against any use of a way. So I stand against any method that would be used to promote any incitement of violence. But in standing against that, I would urge us all together to stand against the intimidation that is being perpetuated by or perpetrated by the state and perpetrated by people who have intelligence capacities. It's almost Christmas time. Like, where is your cheer? Like, it's Christmas time. It's Christmas time. Where is your holiday cheer? Like, take a vacation. Take a day off. Leave this man alone who is not bothering anybody. Leave him alone. Every time that you attack him is every time that a story is going to come out of something bad you did. You were attacking Black people, and then what happened? A story came out. Benjamin Crump, FBI, they sued you for what you did to Malcolm X. Every time you attack an innocent Black person, expect a story to come out about what you've been doing. In the past, you were holding Black people and torturing them in facilities, and you were trying to keep that secret, and that came out. Leave these Black people alone that aren't doing anything, especially Xavier. Let this man live him let him live his life. He's not bothering anyone. He's not a national threat to security. Or excuse me, he's not a threat to national security. He's just a human being. He has a son and he has a daughter. He has a family. Leave him alone. Let him live his life and stop intimidating him. That is a very childish thing to do for somebody with intelligence capacities to be getting in his phone and trying to stop him from being able to, one, document his encounter in an ambulance. How evil can you be to do that? Now, he's not going to be an unintelligent person. He's not going to be an unintelligent person and respond the way that you want to. And that's what you're trying to get him to do, is you're trying to get him to react so that you can point to him and you can say that black men are dangerous. So you can say that black men are to be feared. So you can say that this is a prime example of a black person that you need to look out for. And you need to leave that man alone. Stop trying to push him over the edge. Because every day that you do that, and if you ever do that, then you're going to have somebody like me who is going to come out and talk to the public about what you've been doing. And trust me, I know exactly what to say. And I'm not going to be this person that is going to be how we see where we have videos about forgiveness. No, I'm going to urge them to take you to the International Court of Justice. I know that the United States is not a party, but the Human Rights Committee abroad for crimes against humanity. And trust me, I know the definition of crimes against humanity. If that ever happens, I will make sure that all these cases come out to light. Leave him alone. He's just a human being. He's trying to live his life. He is an ordinary black man. When you think about an ordinary black man, we think about him. You know, he's just a man who likes to smoke a cigar every now and then, who likes to, listen to his music, who you've already isolated him. You already suppressed his followership. You already made it where he can't get any followers. Leave him alone. And again, we are not going to be the kind of people that is going to respond with violence because we know better. We're not going to respond with violence because we know better. We're going to respond with intelligence. And yes, you have the upper hand right now because you are the government. You have power. You have the upper hand, yes. But again, we're not going to respond with violence. We're not going to respond with intimidation. We're not going to meet intimidation with intimidation. We are going to be intelligent about this. And the way to be intelligent about it is to really pay attention to it and come together collectively as black people and say that it's wrong. That people with intelligence capacities or people with hacking capabilities should not be intimidating black people who are just trying to get through the day. We can point to a number of people who are doing things wrong, and you should be focused on them. You should be focused on the drug lords. You should be focused on the people who are, trafficking children. You should be focused on not only those that are trafficking children, you should be focused on the people who are, spiking people's drinks. You should be focused on all these people who are harming people. This man is trying to get through the day. Leave him alone.